Hello, hello, hello. We are live. We are here. We are here to talk about relationships. And yeah, sorry for coming late from the advertised time. It's just John is running late. He's at work and he couldn't make it any sooner. So I thought, maybe, we should give him time to get here so we can actually have a conversation with him. He wanted to talk about money and relationships, or whether you should lend your boyfriend or girlfriend money. And that's what we're going to talk about. Is it wise? Is it wise at all to lend your boyfriend money, and or your girlfriend for that matter? And it's an interesting topic for me because I don't know how I feel about that one. I don't know whether I think it's a good thing or not a good thing. So we'll find out what happens, right? The wisdom of this. And thank you for those that are joining us. Say hello and comment and like and share if you know someone who might benefit from this. I know so many friends, women, and clients who have told me they gave someone money for something and they never got it back. And I know a lot of men who have invested so much money and they never got it back. And some that did. So, it's trying to balance the which and which. And Nelta is going to join me now, and so that we can talk to each other while we wait for John. And probably John will join us later and we can talk to him. And so, hi, Nelta, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I am good. I'm really good.
Nice.
And John always says I should introduce myself because I forget to do that. For those of you that are new, that have never seen me before, my name is Melody Chadamoyo, and that person over on the other screen is Nelta Chadamoyo. And
Hey.
yes, we share a father and a mother, and so we are sisters.
Yeah.
And so I am a relationship coach. I am an author and a speaker, and I got into relationships because my relationship wasn't working well. It was really bad, and Nelta was happened to be the witness of the bad stuff and also the good, because then as I learned to discover myself and know what was good and what nobody ever told me, that when they say relationships are work, what do you do? When I started to discover little by little what that work was, and things transformed in my marriage, and I became happier, and everybody around me, I'm sure, got happier too.
Yeah.
That's when I started thinking, maybe people need to know about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. So we already have guests. We have Michael, Quena, we have Olga. Hey, Michael. Hey, Olga. So yeah,
Hi.
talking money.
We appreciate your presence, and yeah, and we would also appreciate questions about, is it wise to lend money to your boyfriend or girlfriend? So, Nelta, what do you think? Do you think it's wise to lend money to your boyfriend or girlfriend?
Michael is already on the ball. He is saying lending money to your boyfriend or girlfriend is a big no.
Why is it a big
And
no,
also,
Michael? I would love to hear more. Tell me, why is it a no?
yeah, and Melody Olga is also saying why. So it's a
Well, because they need the money and because you love them, maybe. I don't know.
my own view on this. For the
Mm.
most part, the reason why it becomes an issue is because people don't accept the person they are with and or explore what type of person they are with. Because when you introduce money, it's like only money people you can trust the money. One also, you know that you can afford to lose. So
Okay.
you can listen to, you can't loan your rent money.
No, you can't.
or money for school fees, or money you need for hospital. You loan money that you really don't need now, maybe what you have put in your savings because, well, you're saving for a rainy day. That's
Michael says unless it's an agreement that it will be a down payment of dowry payment. But it's your girlfriend does not get dowry. The dowry goes to your father. So how is this going to work out?
we know in
Imagine.
Zimbabwe dowry. We know in Zimbabwe dowry is dealt between men, fathers, and future son-in-laws. So if you give your girlfriend money, that's the beginning and the end of that story.
Yeah. The father will say, I don't know nothing about that. I was not involved
Father
in the
won't get
conversation.
involved.
Yeah, I was not involved in the conversation, so don't involve me. This is your deal. So now let's get serious. I wanted to talk about this topic from a very different angle from what John wanted to talk about, because money is, we have so many issues with money. We have so many connotations with money. Money means a lot to a lot of people, but I also know money means different things to women and to men. For men, money means I am the man, I'm the provider, I am the, the supplier of comfort and whatever. For women, it's money is for fun, it's for buying treats and trinkets and all that. On top of also paying bills and stuff like that. And also, if you look at it, women were trained to expect money from men, to expect men to provide the money that they need to use in the world. It's only like recently, as in probably people of my generation or the generation before, that women have taken the responsibility and to earn their own money, to have their own money. But I don't think men have made that mindset shift, that the relationship is not just about, well, everybody actually hasn't made the mindset shift that a relationship is not just about money, it's about a lot of things. There are a lot of people who have financial, what I call financial infidelity, and they accept it because nobody actually really talks about, okay, so now we are dating, now we are getting to know each other. I want to know your financial personality, which is different from your usual personality, because a lot of people are so organized in some parts of their lives, and yet when it comes to money, they are very disorganized. They've got a lot of debt, they've got a lot of things, because there is so much stuff that we attach to money. That's what I wanted to talk about. And because there's so much stuff that we attach to money, then we get to a point where somebody needs to borrow money. When they are borrowing from you, you need to look at their financial, what do you call it? Their financial life, their financial personality, to see what type of person they are financially. If you expect to get the money back, of course. If you're just giving them money, just give them money and don't expect them to pay you back. So there's a big difference. I also know people who would date someone and they would provide and they pay school fees, maybe college fees, maybe clothes and all others, pay rent sometimes. And then when they break up, they start saying, I want all my money back. I don't like that at all. To me, it feels like you were buying love. Please disagree with me on this one, because I just feel if you are with someone and you're giving them the love, and to you giving them the love is also giving them money, then you shouldn't ask for it back when things go south.
That's
or
true.
go sour.
You're so right. I agree with you in the context that you shouldn't ask back for things that you gave when you were in a relationship, because the relationship didn't end. But also, I think it's very important for people to understand why they are giving the money. If it's
Yeah.
buying affection, know this. It can't be bought. You can't buy love. You can't buy like.
No.
People can pretend to like you if you are there to please people. People pleasers always end up on their own.
That's true. They always end up lonely. John is
Yeah.
saying he's backstage. I'm not seeing him in the green room. So if you join us in the green room, I'll add you to the I will add you on stage, and then we can actually have a proper conversation. Because I'm so curious about what you wanted to say and the questions you have prepared for me.
Can
And
I
we can,
can I ask you a question while we wait for John?
yes, please.
So when you're looking at it from a point of view of women giving money to their boyfriends,
Mm,
you were talking about the difference between how men and women view money.
mm.
Do you have kind of like an understanding of why women loan money?
In most cases, they think that's what's going to keep the boyfriend around. They
Okay.
want the boyfriend to love them so much, and it's out of love. But the one thing we don't understand is men feel humiliated when women have to look after them financially. So if you have to give him money, most of the time they don't stick around. They will leave because they will feel like you are not seeing them as a man anymore.
Mm.
Yeah,
So
because
he's
they
not a
won't.
provider.
Yes, they won't see themselves as a man in your to you. That's because men have got this idea of who they are as men. Like I just know I'm a woman. I don't have a particular um I don't have a particular investment in my femininity, right? I'm just a woman. Whereas with men, they have this idea of who they are as men, and if that idea is messed around with, like, I have to humiliate myself to go ask this woman for money, then that means I don't see myself as the man I wanted to be, which means I can't be with this woman. We don't get that, guys. We really don't, because to us, if I have the money, it's okay. I can give it to you, and it doesn't mean I'll lose respect for you.
But
But
in general, Melody, it's very difficult to ask for money
oh
for
yeah, it
most
is.
people.
It
So
is.
just because it's a woman asking doesn't mean finds it easy, unless it's someone who really just wants to use you.
Yeah, and that has happened a lot. Like I know a lot of women, especially women in the diaspora, who have financed men to. They would tell them, I'm looking after, I'm doing this, I'm going to college, or I've got a business, and the business always changes, and they don't do due diligence. So here's the thing: if a person says I'm going to do business, and they are serious about business, and you want to give them a loan for business, you need to see the business plan. You need to do your own due diligence. You need to find out what their marketing plan is. You need to see where they did the market research. You need to see who their clients are going to be. You need to observe how hard they're working before you put any of your money in it. Because
Even who their supplier is.
exactly, because most of the time, people will take the money, go spend it with other girlfriends. Unfortunately, it has happened too many times that we can't just ignore it now. And
Mm.
then once they are over there, then you start to feel, oh, it has happened to too many women because we don't value money the same way as men do. Most of the time, he is looking for money to provide for his family.
Mm.
Not for you, but for his other family.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So I suppose it's an issue of if someone is asking for an investment, you need to understand uh, what business they are getting into, which means you have to look at yourself as an investor, really, pretty much, and have an agreement written down and signed because it's an investment. If it's someone who's asking for a small amount of money to help them in something, but then again, it's like I used to have, is it 5 or 6 friends when I was back in Zimbabwe, and we used to say up to 100 Zimbabwean dollars. We didn't ask for the money back. So if I asked you for 100 or 20 or anything in between 0 and 100, ask for it back because that 100 always went round. But anything beyond beyond that was understood that he had to return back. So I think people should have like agreements with their friends as to how they handle money when they are dealing with money, but at the same time be able to tell your partner, boyfriend or girlfriend, that I cannot afford to give you this money because I don't have, or not to. But I think the lesson that I learned from you, Melody, was when Taura was in college, and you used to go and sit in the park and have share a bottle of Fanta. And what was it you used to buy? I can't remember what rolls you used to buy.
Guns from TM supermarket.
Yeah.
I was a cheap date.
No, it was to me though, it wasn't a cheap date because he would say, this is what I can afford at the point at which I am. Because he also didn't need to, when he went to college, end up with no money for food because his grant had to finance his livelihood while he was in college. So when he came on breaks, he had to make sure that like you understood his financial situation because he did tell you where he stood financially. But most people would have taken you to Nando's, would have taken you to Chicken Inn and done all that expensive stuff and then starve when he goes back, or even struggle to go back to college because he has spent the grant on a girlfriend, because the girlfriend doesn't know that even though you're getting a grant, some parents would top up their kids, not everybody can. But if you don't express the fact that I cannot afford this lifestyle, this is where my budget allows me. Actually, one thing I've learned this week is have a budget for dating. Just have a budget for dating. And then if it's within the budget, then you do it. If it's not within the budget, then my budget for the month does not allow us to go and watch a movie.
Yeah. I totally, yeah. I think we also don't understand the difference between business and personal. Because when it's business, you get a legal document. Oh yes, John. You get a legal document, you sign it, and you say, I am going to give this money back. And even if you break up, then you will pay the money back, and that's okay. What is difficult is we are getting into a point where we're having legal agreements on sort of personal understandings. They're not even agreements, they're understandings of, it's going to work and it's not going to work and all sorts of things. Your money and your relationship are not the same thing. Even though money adds a lot to the relationship, it's still not as important as the relationship.
So you can separate the two. Don't loan each other money.
Yeah, I would say that. I would.
Don't.
Hi, ladies. How are you, ladies?
We are good. This is your topic, so we are just playing around with it.
Yeah, it's I was thinking about this topic for the past 1 week, because I've received a lot of people asking me about this. Most of the people that are my friends on social media are ladies, mostly ladies working abroad and having their boyfriends back at home. And there's been you can automatically guess what I want to talk about. Yeah, so I had almost not less than 10. I guess there are almost 11 right now cases that I'm handling, trying to advise something that I cannot even advise because they are reaching out to me on how to handle. And a disclaimer, and guys don't laugh about this, I'm one of those people who have been in the same shit because I've passed through the same. So I try to reflect back and answer their questions and advise them as per how I myself experienced it. And just to summarize it all, there is nothing like having a girlfriend or a boyfriend and then you bring money in between, the financial whatever. In fact, In fact, your financial status must be totally separated from a love relationship if you are not married.
Yes, I agree.
Before marriage, yes, you need to make the other partner understand how you're making your money, but they don't have to be part of the process of the making, part of the process of investing. You can't invest with a boyfriend or a girlfriend. People must be real.
Yeah.
That's for me. Here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe for me, I approach this from a different angle. If I am going to involve anything with money with a boyfriend, I would say if it's an investment, we do a legal document, because I don't have a problem with breaking up with a person and keep the financial relationship going, because the two have
That's the
nothing to do with each other.
that's the
But
thing.
at the same time, I will not engage in such a situation with someone I've been only seeing for less than 3 months. Because in 3 months' time, I know if I'm sticking around or if I'm going. But then I'm in my 40s, so I can read people that fast. Now, if you are younger, give yourself time. Less than 6 months before you start like loaning someone money, because sometimes you're led by your dream of what this guy can be in your life, or this lady can be in your life. But the honest truth is, even if you loan them money the first time and they come back and they want more money, you need to take pause. The reason why I'm saying this, like, from my own personal experience, a lot of the times people don't give back money because they assume because we're in a relationship, I'm not expected to give back the money. And
Eh,
you put yourself through hell getting the money for them, and then while you have done that, you with an expectation that they will respect and give back the money. It doesn't always work like that. So the thing we need to learn is, what I would say, I want to know how much my boyfriend earns financially. For me, I want to know, so that if I'm going, and what their responsibilities are, so that I don't make crazy demands or expectations. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be involved, like what you said, in how they make their money and all that crap, because yeah, I can't shut up about giving advice. I would rather just not get involved. Keep me out of it.
Yeah, the reality is that, financially, and in fact, most of the relationship in this generation are kind of destroyed by sex and money. And this is what people are not being genuine and talking about, because we are growing a generation where a woman only believes that you are a man enough if you can dish out money, and a man also growing up believing that you are only a woman enough if you can give 360 degrees styles on bed. So we've got to be clear and just speak out and tell people that, relationship is not about sex and money. It's about growing each other. It's about investing together, not investing even financially, but investing spiritually, mentally, socially, you know,
emotionally.
emotionally.
Yes.
Just, yeah, that's what makes up relationship. But personally, the things that I've gone through and the experience that I've seen in relationships that have made me to grow so much enough to not handle a relationship just because I have a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a fiance. I have to go so much deep into it. So when it comes to money and loaning money, a person called a relative, a person called a girlfriend or a boyfriend, or even a wife or a husband, you don't loan them money. Give them money if you have.
Or
You
a
don't loan
friend.
them. Yeah, or even a friend.
Yeah. Give them, but don't loan it, because
Never.
it will break up your relationship. We
It is
have
gonna break.
Mary and Faith and Chimuyanya.
Mhm.
I don't know. Yeah, I think I mispronounced that one. Sorry, please forgive me. I'm Zimbabwean.
I just want to ask you. I want to ask you a question, John, from a male perspective,
Mhm.
men your age. Uh,
Okay.
like how much financial education are men your age getting in terms of handling money, budgeting, saving, and stuff like that?
That's, when you talk about how much education they are getting in terms of financial spending and investment, I can tell you that I'm so sorry, and the generation, some of my friends will maybe argue with me, or maybe they will also join me in this. I'm so sorry for this generation because it's a pathetic generation. My age mates and the people, like, let me just say, 40 years and below, between 40 and 18, we are a pathetic generation because we are so much into politics, sports, girlfriend and boyfriend thing. I'm remaining single, or I'm getting married. I'm seeing someone, or I'm seeing some people. You know,
Fashion.
fashion. You know, people want to live a life that is not theirs. They want to live a life of a wish. You know, there's living a life that is yours, and there's a living a life that you wish to have. So financial education is too, I can say, maybe 20%.
Mm.
People, even like when I talk like this, when you're talking about this and you're talking about financial relationship between a boy and a girl, people are gonna pass it. But when you're talking about how do you make a woman love you, people are gonna be here, or maybe tens of thousands of people, and
Mm.
there will be that age gap, 40, between 18 and 40. So
Okay.
we are not eager to learn how to spend our money, how to invest with our money, how to
How to
control
manage.
the influx here of the money, the management, financial management, Nelta.
Mm.
So, Nelta and I were lucky because our parents were experimenting with us when we were young, like young before I even went to school. I started handling money, going shopping or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
that taught me to be aware of how much things cost, the effort that goes into having those things, and
Mm-hmm.
because mom and dad, when we were still in primary school, and because our parents would have been the parents that were working during colonization and soon after colonization. So
Okay.
when we were in our tens, teens, and whatever, we were just soon after colonization. So black people were still not even allowed to have a bank account and things like that. They used to get money in khaki envelopes and brown envelopes, and they would give us the envelope with money, both because both our parents worked. They got paid on the same date, and then they would give us money, and they would say, right, here's the list of the things that are required in the house, and how much they cost, and this is the money we have. You do something, allocate the money as you see fit. And I remember, so many times, like, I would cry because I could see the money was not enough. So I might want a pair of shoes, right? So I would be the one to go to my parents and say, oh, no, you shouldn't buy me a pair of shoes because you can't afford it. That was so sneaky of our parents, but
Mm-hmm.
it also
Oh,
gave.
don't get me a pair of shoes. Olga, if there's a bigger need, she needs more
Yeah,
tops.
so so you better buy it for her. So one, we learned to not just ask for myself, but also to look after each other while we were managing this pot of money that was sometimes not enough for 5 kids. But
Mm-hmm.
and that was very helpful. It was so helpful that when I started dating, and sometimes money was tight, and maybe my boyfriend would bail me out by buying me groceries or something. That happened when I was in college, because he would come to see me and find I didn't have any food. I wouldn't have told him, but he would say, how are you surviving? And then he would buy me food, right? I did the same as well when I was in college, and sometimes I would have more money and I would go to see him, and he would have nothing and say, oh my goodness, this is crazy. Let's go shopping, and I would buy him whatever he needed. And that was interchangeable. And he never complained about that. He never said, oh, I don't want this. Things started to change when we got married, and he told me I don't spend a woman's money. I'm like, but all this time you have been, because I didn't understand the male psyche at the time. I get it now, and I have different words to talk about it than I did then. But anyway,
Yeah,
money is a thing that most of us really find difficult to deal with. And because nobody actually teaches us how to handle money in a way that is healthy, in a way that we don't get too attached and give it too much value. Because all it is, it's an agreement we all have in the world that these pieces of paper are going to buy something of value, right? It's the value we give to the thing that we are trying to pay for.
Melody. When we are talking about this, I want to bring this also into your attention, guys. Um, I just decided that it's time to be frank with people. It's time to be plain and tell people what it is, what they don't even want to hear, because it's gonna help them. Sometimes I ask a lot of people, and even these ladies who came to me asking me about how do I manage this, because I sent my boyfriend, I've been sending money for this and that, to this to be done, but when I went for vacation, I found out that there's nothing was done. This guy moved in with another woman. I,
Yeah.
you know, so
Yeah.
the first question that I ask is, how did you reach to a point where you started sending money to a boyfriend and not even your mother or your dad? Do you have parents or not? And then
Or a
they're like,
sibling.
yeah, I have my parents, they are there. So how did you get to this? That, we trusted each other, we were loving, he was loving me. And then I was just asking the person, like, do you think you love him? Right. What is love?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think you trust him and he trusted you? What is trust? You see, let's be honest with ourselves, my generation, 40 years to 18 years. Let us just be honest to ourselves. Before you tell a woman or a man that I trust you, I love you, do you feel it? This is
I
the question
think,
you have to be
okay,
honest
John.
with yourself.
I think that's not the right question to ask.
Mm-hmm.
What is trust is the question to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Because trust is words with action. That's trust.
Mm-hmm.
What you say today, like John, you said, Melody, I'm going to be there at 8, and or half 8, whatever, and you were there. And tomorrow you will come and say, Melody, I'm going to be there at 8, and you're there at 8. And I will start to trust you that when John says I'm going to be there at 8, he's going to be there at 8. Trust is earned. You don't just give trust because people say when you love someone, you trust them.
That's the thing. You brought it the way that I wanted it to look, and I had forgotten it. People just get into trust just because the word has it that you have to trust people when you are in love. When you're loving somebody, when you're in a relationship, you have to trust them. Have you developed it? Are you having it?
Because you
You know,
love your, yeah. It's the same thing as, yeah, but you love your siblings.
Not as breaking up.
Yeah,
Is it
but
only
John,
me? Or
you love your
yeah, Delta is
siblings. Do you
breaking.
trust them? So how is it different? Like, you boys, before you grow up together, you share clothes and whatever. And you say you love your siblings, but you don't trust them. So you can love people and not trust them.
okay, I think I get what
I
he's
was saying you
saying.
can love people and not trust them. You can do that with
Yeah,
family.
yeah.
Like that with
You
your person, boyfriend, girlfriend. So if you love someone, it doesn't mean you trust.
That's true. I can
yeah.
get her. I can get Nelta, even though she's a little bit honky.
Yeah, you can definitely love someone and not trust them. Trust is
Absolutely.
something a human being needs to earn. You can't just go around giving trust willy-nilly. This is the reason why we have men who perform mediocre at this moment in time. Because as women, we don't give them the level to which they need to rise to. We trust them for no reason. And so they think, sure, she trusts me. You say, do you trust me? Yes, I trust. Why do you trust him?
Yes, I trust you.
Why?
It's the rubbish. It's the rubbish question that I always don't want. Somebody asking me, "Do you trust me?" You want me to tell you, "Yes, I trust you."
And in most
You
cases, most people who ask you that question, do you trust me, are the people that are not trustworthy. You
trusting
know,
you. Yeah, they aren't because they are doubting it. Just like they don't trust you, they want to ask because it is said that how is that called? It's a sense of insecurity. You know, the same way I say that when you go to internet looking for something like what are the ways, the signs of red flags in a relationship, it means you are in it already. You are in it already. So when you're asking somebody, do you trust me? There's a sense of insecurity, which means you too don't even trust them. So
Yeah.
that's what you want, affirmation from them. People have
Yeah.
to understand that.
To validate, yeah. And there's
Yeah.
a thing called financial infidelity. A lot of people who are in relationships, which we need to talk about in detail, a lot of people who are in relationships don't even tell each other enough about their financial situation or financial life or whatever,
Me
because
included.
they feel their spouse doesn't need to know. And like you said, the only people who should know how much you earn and what's happening with you financially is your wife and you, and not even your parents, because like why would your mother need to know how much you earn, right? But
No,
as
here's the thing. Stephen, our father, told us, don't tell me how much you earn. Don't give me a specific amount of money every month. It will create problems in the future. Don't share your financial situation in detail with people who are outside of that pocket.
yeah.
A
So
beautiful
once you understand your financial situation and your financial responsibility for yourself, if you happen to find someone who is overseas, ladies, I have to say this, John, you can take it whichever way you need to take it. But this is what I want to tell you about men and long distance relationships. If you are in a relationship with a man and he is 2 hours away from you, right? 2 hours. He will drive to you to come see you, maybe. If he's not coming to see you all the time and complaining about the distance, he's not all that into you. One. Number two, if he is in Africa and you are in Ireland, Dubai, wherever you are.
Bahrain.
Yes, wherever you are. And there is no concrete plan. I need you to understand this concrete plan that in the next 3 to 6 months, you are going to be living in the same place. You don't have a relationship with that guy. Men don't have a long distance capability. Very few of them do. And I'm saying this, I dated my boyfriend. He lived 7 hours away. And every 6 weeks, he came to see me. I went to see him. Every 6 weeks. And it was tough those 6 weeks. And he would complain for those 6 weeks and say, I wish you were here. Because men, their attention span and their memory of what happened is not in their heads. They want things that are present and physical and touchable. He cannot have a relationship with you in his head like you do. Ladies, please hear me when I say this.
That's
okay. Explains why my boyfriends who lived two bus, whatever is it, you needed two forms of transport to get to me, never worked. I should have known.
and I was just going to give a confession, because mine too never worked, and one of the reasons why it did not work was because of the distance. Because you see when a distance, and what Melody said is so true, and for me, I don't always fear to even use myself as an example, because this is what happens. As a man, I would just tell it as it is. When the distance is created, and it's a distance that you're so sure that it's gonna take like 1 month, minimum 1 month. It starts from 1 month. After 1 month, the mind of a man starts to go away.
Yeah.
The first 1 week, we are always into you, whether you are in the US and I'm in Africa, you are in Germany and I'm in Spain, it doesn't matter. The first week, second week, third week, things work out. And see, human being naturally, there will be some differences between you, even when you live together. There will be some fights, there will be some arguments. And you see, for a man, when you're arguing with a man, when a man is so far from you, it's so difficult to make a solution in their mind. Sometimes they will just say yes to make you happy, but in their mind, they will keep it. The second week, the same thing still happens. Remember, arguments don't stop. The third week, fourth week, they are gone.
Yeah.
Because a man, as I told you the other time, that if you want to solve a problem with a man in a relationship, you've got to hold them. Sometimes they will shout, sometimes they will tell you all the shit. But when a man sees their woman that they love, their physique near them, every anger that is in them disappears. But you are on a telephone call and you guys are shouting and you are millions or thousands of miles away from each other. It's not gonna work. I tell people this thing every time, but some people tell me, no, it's only yours that never work. This is the thing. You will pretend it's working. You're going to pretend that it's working until when it will be too late.
Until you discover that you've been sponsoring his family with your money, and then you get bitter because you don't want to be realistic. This is not intentional. I have to say this. Men don't aim to do this to women. They are just not made for long distance relationship, because their relationship are not done in their heads. Their relationship are done with their eyes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, in the moment. Men live in the moment. They don't live for the future. That is why in this day and age, the world is so messed up, because we have too many male leaders. They can't see the future. They only see now. If you see all the solutions that are brought by male leaders in the world, they are all for today, maybe next week, definitely not next year.
I just want to say it, I don't know what you guys are saying is that sometimes you need to know yourself enough to know when you are lying to yourself.
Absolutely.
And accept that you are a person who runs from reality. Because when people say, some people put their heads in the sand, it is not just people who actually ignore the whole thing. It is also people who build a new reality around the situation. And in most cases, because as women, maybe he touched you the right way, he was a good guy when you were there, and they're thinking, I want to keep this one. Or like we keep being told there's potential there, and you want to see where the potential is going to go. But when you're not there, you're not there. And like what John says, if you realize that you're gone, it has even happened with couples that, like Zimbabwe, most people started leaving Zimbabwe around 2000 for the most part, going all over the world. And the idea for most people was like, he goes or she goes, and then in a month or two, he'll follow with the kids or she'll follow with the kids, or you or the other partner will follow, and then they work together and then bring the kids. 3 years later, the other one is still in the other country. They haven't been able to follow for whatever reason. Some people, it wasn't even legal. It's like you get there and realize the money is not as much as it is only as much when you take it and go where you come from, because the exchange rate gives you the advantage. But when you're really living in that country, you are paid for the standard of life that is there, and most of us go there and we get low-paying jobs. Or even if we don't, it's like there's a lot of things that are needed, and the demands back home and all that, and your salary can't stretch that far to accommodate all the extra stuff. So then, I have met men and women who are married and are in relationships with people wherever they are, because everybody needs someone to touch them, and the other spouses also maybe some. Usually, men do it faster than women, and they're with somebody, and then some women have done it as well. Like both couples are with other people, and they have this fun marriage that is in existence. When the reality is, like some people say, after 3 years they manage to make it in the same place, and they want to start where they left off, which is a fake narrative, because after 3 years, like 3 years ago is 3 years ago. It doesn't matter. You can't start from there. You have to start dating again and see if it works. But
yeah, and if you were to leave a job, right, and after 3 years you go back to try and do what you were doing before, it wouldn't fit in because people would have moved on. Systems would have changed. That's the same with human beings.
Yeah.
If after
So you
3
can
years,
imagine these are people who would have been married, they have a history, they have children, they had families connected, and you're just boyfriend and girlfriend thinking you can do what? Amazing thing because he's special, because he's a and he hasn't even proven that he's an exception. And usually what I've learned, most guys will not break up with you. They'll just create situations that if you pay attention, they're antagonizing you so that you break up with them.
You can go.
yeah, and he
you know,
won't
But most of
follow.
us want to fix the thing this guy doesn't want to fix.
the thing is, in most cases, men, just like you guys say, that men are living in the now, and we are so much into what our eyes shows us, and we are people who give, and then we want to go and give the next. A woman, you give them, they want to multiply the one that you gave. They don't want to look for the other one, right? So the thing is, what Nelta is saying, um, when we get fed up, sometimes we don't want to tell you. We just want to show you. Right. So you're sticking around, but if you look at the things in the right way, you'll realize that, oh, this guy went so many days ago, or many
He's
months,
gone.
or many
Yeah.
years.
Gone.
Yes, he's gone. You can be living. Believe me, you can be living with a man in the same house, same bedroom, but that man broke up with you long time ago, without you knowing. He's just coming in because we are men who like to have multiple women. So he still finds that you're sweet for sex. People have to understand this. You
And they
just
share a
become
house
an
together.
absolutely. So for
And
you,
and what I'm always saying, people are lazy, right? So if
yeah.
it's working, oh, it seems like it's working, then we leave it alone. We won't mess with it.
Is
But
it working, or is it because there isn't any animosity? We are just
yeah,
amicably living separate lives, and we are
yes,
just getting on.
that
Peacefully separated, sleeping in the same bed,
yes,
occasionally having sex.
yeah, that's
We are this generation of a lot of technology is really doing us bad than good. When you just sit down and look at the things like they are, when it comes to family matters and when it comes to human, this generation is totally doing bad to the world. Not even a human being only, even to the animals, because people are so much into kind of wanting to please others, not themselves. So the more we want to please others, that's where somebody cannot take down his ego or her ego and just face somebody and tell them that, you know what, this relationship is not working. They want to stick around to make the society happy that they have been dating for 7 years or 10 years. They've been together. Yet when these people get into their bedroom, another one faces west and the other one east. But they're still sticking around.
yeah.
So when
Yeah.
they take photos, they share it on social media, which is another improvement in technology, and people use them as an example. Oh, I just want to be this couple. Why don't you always be like John and Jane? Why can't you? But the person who's telling you why can't you be like John and Jane, maybe you guys are fighting, but your fight is genuine and your life is genuine. But John and Jane is not fighting in public, but
But their
the love
life
is
is.
gone.
You know how many
It's
times that has
miserable.
happened to me? You know how many, like I stopped that years ago. That I look at a couple and think, oh, they're so perfect. Because I used to do that.
They're
I'd say, oh my
perfect.
God, they're so that this is before social media. This will be people I am seeing with my own eyes, right? And I'm saying, oh yeah, they're so perfect. He does this, he drives her to work, he picks her up from work, and all sorts of things. And then I started to find out, the more I know these people, that my God, it's rotten inside. It's disgusting because he's picking her up from work and taking her to home because he wants to control her. And then there are all other
Absolutely.
stuff that you don't even want to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you
Melody,
don't want a fig relationship, nice and
you
looking
know,
outside,
you
ants
know,
inside.
Melody has brought something that is very, very important, and I want women to listen to this, and I want to repeat it. Don't be overexcited because he's driving you to work and picking you from work to home and taking you for shopping, taking you to buy your shoes, dropping you to your friends, picking you up from your friends. Don't be overexcited. That guy, you have to be very careful because you ain't dropping him anywhere he's going. You ain't picking him anywhere he's going. Whatever he's doing there is giving him insecurities not to allow you not to be dropped. Be very
I
careful.
actually was going to say he knows where you are and how long you will be there. So
Absolutely.
he's pretty much keeping you on a leash.
Toes.
Yeah, I don't want being picked and dropped that frequent. That's impinging on my independence.
Don't
But
you
before,
have anything to do apart from dropping me? Can you ask this guy that
once
kind of
in
a
a while
question?
I'm okay.
I need to stop this now. Come on. Anyway, we are getting to
Can I
the
just
end
go
of
back? Can I
this.
just go back?
Mm.
Oh, Melody, can I just add into what he's saying and say, like this thing we're talking about people living in different countries is not new. Like Ireland, after the famine, people scattered all over the world. It happened even up until the 90s. They were going. Fathers would be working in England, mothers here in Ireland with the kids. It's not far. Like you can take a ship 1 hour to cross into England, or depending on how further away they are. And they had families in England, they had families in Ireland. They would be sending money over here. And people like are still now discovering that their father or grandfather had another family and they've have half whatever's over there because he was not able to come over because if he paid for transport to come back, he couldn't afford to sustain the life of his family back here. So he started another family. And
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah. So don't
Wow.
like the fact that you go away and you send your boyfriend money and it's another thing, it shouldn't shock you.
Yeah.
People want people close to them. You just need to say, "Hey, I'm going. Let's end this. If in a month's time, if we can't join together, then let's be done. And you move on, I move on, and you can remain friends. And then if he wants to borrow money, to be all the best is that you're not expecting anything.
Go to the bank to borrow money. Don't come to me.
Mhm. Oh, well, you might be
You
in a position to lend people money. It's allowed.
it's allowed.
But you have legal cover.
I'm lending on a legal contract. Melody,
Yes.
what I went through personally
Yeah.
because of this matter of, for me, I didn't lend money. I lent my business. A business that I had worked for years.
Yeah.
And it was dragged down. And you know what my family plus the other family told me? What are you going to do? He's a
Yeah.
part of our family.
Yeah.
And for sure, what are you going to do?
Nothing.
Are you
You
going to
can't
take
do
them to
anything.
jail?
It's gone. Yeah.
But the thing is, you can't start a business and you can't run a business where you are not. Unless it's well established and it's running itself, then yeah, you can step back and go and do other things. But you need to be in and out and be aware of
Even,
what's going on.
Nelta, this is the thing. Even if it is well structured and the foundation is well put, if you don't write a contract down, if you don't employ your wife as the CEO and let her sign a contract, if you don't employ your husband as the manager or maybe a supervisor and let him sign a contract when you're going away, the business is going to go deep to the sea and you will do nothing about it.
Yeah.
Or they'll just make money and get it away from you. That happens too. But employees should have contracts. Like business is business, personal is personal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So I just want, because we are getting to the end of our very interesting talk today. And so, John, I want you to say one thing you think people should know. Now just start thinking about that, and then I will close.
All right. So we were talking about lending money to our BFs or GFs. And this is what I want to crown it all with. I just want to tell everybody who's watching this, or those who will watch it again later on, that it doesn't matter whether you have to lend or not to lend. What matters is there are two things. How much trust do you have with the people you are lending money? And trust is not a trust that we always talk about like, oh, I trust them. It is real trust. How much do you trust them? Do you believe that they will return back the money? If they will not, even if it is your mother, let them sign a legal contract. If not, don't lend, give.
Yeah, I like that.
Mm,
Like that.
mm. Okay.
That's
For
all,
me,
Melody.
wow, that's powerful.
Mm.
For me, I want to say have a budget and do your best to stick to the budget. And you see how much money you have that you can loan people, but only loan what you can afford not to get back. Because even if it's for business and the person's business is sound, not all
Mm,
businesses take off, and they might not be able to give it back for like we are told that businesses start making a profit if you're lucky 3 years. For the most part, it's 5 years. So you might not get your money as soon as you're expecting it. And some people who owe you money, you just have to write them off as bad debts. And depending on their behavior, you learn that this person, I'll never loan them money again. And then
mhm.
some, you can realize that they came back to you and they did tell you, yes, I was expecting to work. A lot of people trust a very complicated explanation as to why they couldn't, but the simplest explanation is usually, I didn't make the money I thought I was going to make. That's my lesson to people. Budget, budget,
A
budget.
great one.
Yeah.
I love that.
Um, so I think love yourself enough to know why you do anything in this world, including loaning money to your boyfriend or girlfriend. And I personally would never do that because I think it's just complicated. Unless, like John said, when there's a legal lawyer and everybody's signing up. Otherwise, I would just give money and forget about it ever coming back, because it will make you become bitter and angry, and then you bringing that energy towards yourself, you are the one who's going to suffer. So when you are thinking about money or anything, the word trust is action and words. Words accompanied by actions. If there is no action after words, they are just words. If it tells you, I'm going to put you in a private jet and I'll take you to so and so and I'll take you to Italy for lunch and to Paris for dinner and
Oh
all that,
my
and he is
God.
wearing Louis Vuitton and he's driving a Ferrari car that he hired from somebody, all those are words until they are accompanied by action.
My actions.
And that's the only time you trust someone. And you should love yourself enough to give you that space to discover if a person is trustworthy or not.
Mhm,
There is a word called trustworthy. That word means everything,
Worthy
mhm.
of
because a person has to be worthy of trust.
mm,
That's all I have to say. So thank you so much for listening and sharing, and you guys, Nelta and John, for being here. And yeah, I loved this conversation. So questions, and everyone who was listening to us, you can share on watch or share with other people either on Facebook or on YouTube as well. If you want to go and do the survey on my website, heartpassioninstitute.com, and find out where you are on the loving part, if you're ready or if you're not ready for a relationship. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone. Bye for now.
bye.